Hey, what's going on, everybody? I can't talk tonight. Welcome to episode 90 of the Super Deformed Gamescast. As always, I am one of your hosts, John, aka at Mr. Megative on Twitter. And as you can see, we got a full house tonight. We are joined by our old friend Sam Tolbert from Real Games Media. Sam, it is a real pleasure to have you on. As always, you're a good friend, and you're a real treat to talk to, my man.
It is always a treat to be with this group of hooligans, to say the least. Y'all are awesome, and yeah, let's talk games.
Is it a treat, though? Is it really a treat?
It is in sort of, have you ever heard the term biofascination? Where something just becomes so convoluted and awful, you just become attracted to it. That's sort of the situation.
I only know video game words, so the only bio word I know is Bioshock.
Is that no? I think I know what he's talking about. It's
BioWare. BioWare, but they don't exist anymore.
It's kind of like a dog that eats its own turd and really enjoys it. And the dog's
exactly
like I probably shouldn't do this, but it's really, really compelling at the same time.
All right, guys, it's been a great episode. Thanks for coming by.
We're already talking about dog turd.
And for everybody in chat, check this out. Look who's back. This episode 90, marks the return of the calmest man in video games. Our prodigal son, Steve. Steve is back. We are so happy you're back, man. What the hell is up, dude?
How's it going?
He's pretty calm.
Nothing's changed. Absolutely.
I haven't heard Steve talk since he's got on. I didn't even know.
Wait, let me try something. Hey, Steve, how great has 2017 been for video games?
I'm still waiting to find out.
Oh.
Steve is so fucking calm, and Maddie, it's been a while since Maddie's been able to get on with us. So, dude, really happy that you were able to take some time and join us tonight.
Yeah, glad I can make it. I'm probably going to be making it more often from now on.
Ooh, sounds kinky. Making it. You're gonna be making it. That sounds good. Nice.
Oh,
Make sure you record it. Anyway, a lot to talk about today. So I guess we'll just go ahead and dive right into it. As everybody knows, I am sure, or as I'm sure everybody knows, there was a new trailer today for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Wait, there was?
Yeah, right. I know. It's.
I actually didn't know.
Are you serious? You didn't know that?
No.
Well, you've had a lot going on today. New Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer came out. It was only a minute and a half long, but out of that minute and a half, there was actually quite a bit to talk about. And I wanted to start with what everybody thought of the trailer overall, and I'll wait till the end to give my opinions.
I'll watch it really quick.
Yeah, go ahead and watch it while we're talking. Why don't we start with, I don't know, who wants to kick us off on a little...
I only watched it like once, so I don't have... some of you guys will probably have more elaborate thoughts on it. First off, my memory's not great, so even though I played the first game pretty recently, like a couple years ago, I don't, I'm sure there's lots in this trailer, references other characters that I don't remember. I think Dutch is in this trailer, right?
Yeah.
So that's
like
the only
the
thing I
big
really
reveal of the trailer is that it's Dutch's gang.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I really picked up on. The thing that struck me was the faces. I mean, Rockstar has always had amazing open world games, and the environments always look really good. GTA 5, the characters looked pretty good, at least the main characters, but
they looked
think
okay.
Back to Grand Theft Auto, think of Grand Theft Auto 3. Even at the time, those faces and those chunky arms, it was just always forgiven because of the scope of the games, but their characters were never on par with something in a more linear game. And I feel like in this one, the faces look good, the animation looks good, and the cutscenes, the cutscene direction specifically was, I think, a big step up from Grand Theft Auto 5 and even stuff before that.
It looks beautiful. There's no denying that, man.
So that's all I have to say.
It looked fucking gorgeous. I don't know if you guys caught this or not, but I want to say at around the 35-second mark. So it appears that the protagonist is what's his name? Arthur Morgan, I think, is going to be the protagonist. And I was clued off at around 35 seconds. He appears to be talking to what looks like a young John Marston.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, did you see what I tweeted out?
It's painfully obvious.
It's very clear that he's talking to John Marston. And he makes a reference to, he says something along the lines of, your mother's in the ground.
Oh, that's yeah, okay.
Yeah, I am of the strong opinion that is a young John Marston. He's talking. I tweeted out earlier, Brandon. If you want to look at the tweet while we're talking, it is very clearly John Marston.
No, I don't remember. I know exactly which scene.
So I think he's talking to John Marston, and the fact that he's talking about his mother or his family makes me wonder if this isn't like his uncle or something, or maybe a blood relative of his. But like what I took away from the trailer was, I don't like if, in fact, Arthur Morgan is the protagonist of Red Dead Redemption 2. I get that it's just a 1.5-minute long trailer, so maybe taking this much away from it isn't exactly fair. But the character himself just does not come across as likable or compelling as John Marston was.
Yeah, I'm not big on the voice actor.
Well, I'm not big on the voice actor, Maddie, but like the other thing for me is that like John Marston was a very, very rough around the edges character, but he was also a man of morals. And I mean, the game was called Red Dead Redemption, and it was all about John Marston's path towards that redemption, leaving the life of an outlaw. And one of the things that separated Red Dead Redemption from Grand Theft Auto and John Marston from characters like Niko Bellic was, you take Niko Bellic up to a prostitute, he gets a blowjob in an alley, then beats her up and takes his money back. With John Marston, you walk up to a prostitute in a bar, and she makes a pass at him. He says, "I'm sorry, ma'am, I'm a married woman." And
he's a married woman, man.
He's a married woman. I'm a married woman. I'm just as God made me, man.
Game back in 2011. Though.
Yeah, and so John Marston wasn't all about that. And
2010, I'm forgetting when Red Dead.
2010 is when it came out. And that even reflected it, that even reflected in the way you played. Like if you shot like an innocent person, he'd see like, this isn't what my mom intended for me, or like, what if I become? He would get distressed at his actions, even though like he has no choice because you're fucking controlling him. But the character,
but if you want to, you could hog tie a woman and throw her on the train.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm just speaking in generalities about his character.
Yeah, I know.
But like with Arthur Morgan, he is very obviously a bandit and not a good person by any stretch of the imagination. Like the way he came off in that trailer made him seem like he doesn't have many, if any, redeemable qualities. And I'm not sure that I want to play the game as a villainous character.
But like you said, though, right? We're judging it off a super short trailer. Like, I don't know if you go back and watch the trailers with John Marston. Like, I think it'd be very easy to cut a trailer of John Marston from Red Dead Redemption and make him come across the same way. Like we have that. It's like hindsight 2020 kind of thing.
Yeah, I was actually going to say like sort of the same thing.
It's hard now to remove that. You can't just pretend you don't know John Marston because you do. And I just think it's too early to call it. But I agree that I wasn't immediately hooked by Arthur Morgan. I was just kind of like, all right.
I'm just hoping they don't go the GTA 5 route and have the characters be like so wholly unlikable that I don't want to play the game. Like it got to a point where like Michael is just a toxic person.
Yeah.
Trevor is just like comically terrible, but still terrible. Like it's not to the point where it's like, haha, this is funny. It's still like disturbing.
Yeah.
It's funny you mention that because that's what got me into GTA Online is like I wanted to play more of like GTA 5, but every time I booted up and like picked single player, like I didn't want to play as Michael or Trevor or Franklin, so I just would boot up like the online mode and just then I could play my custom character.
I like how everyone just like forgotten about Franklin.
Yeah, I was about to say Franklin's like the only one that isn't just like man.
He's also the least important character.
I feel like Franklin's just like the neutral person. All the three. He's just kind
of therefore he doesn't have
a deconstruction of the standard GTA protagonist. He just kind of does things.
Well, let me ask you this, and hey, chat's starting to fill up. Hey, what's up, guys? We're glad you're here. Let me ask you guys this on the topic of GTA 5. So it's obvious that the game is based around Dutch van der Linde's gang. What do you guys think the odds are that we have multiple player characters like we did in GTA 5? Like, what if you play as Arthur Morgan and then you play as Bill Williamson and then you play as like John Marston, which I doubt, or more likely maybe Dutch himself? Well, I mean, because there are like 5 or 6 members of that gang, like Hector, whatever the fuck his name was. I don't know. Do you think that's the route that Rockstar might be taking?
I don't. There's a lot to dive in there.
I don't either.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
I just don't think they're going to do that. You can go ahead.
I don't think so either. I definitely think Yeah, here's the deal, and I may be spoiling the game if I get this prediction right. So I don't think we're going to be playing as Arthur Morgan the entire game. I think it's going to swap over at some point, and I think John Marston takes the reins.
That's more likely than a triple protagonist at the same time.
It makes sense given the fact that we have to understand John's motivation even more than was provided in the first game. At some point or another in order to continue playing the story. It can't just be the gang on the run the entire thing.
I mean, okay, so why would they bring back Dutch's gang if they weren't going to
focus on John Marston,
embellish on the story of John Marston?
So what if it's
why wouldn't they just make a completely new story with completely new characters if John Marston wasn't going to be relevant?
No, that's a good point, Brandon. And so let's jump off that, right? Like, what if this whole thing is a red herring? Like, what if Arthur Morgan is like Haytham Kenway in Assassin's Creed 3, right? And you play
as him for like 3 hours.
What if Dutch's gang is the tanker in MGS2, and then you? That'd be amazing.
No, I mean, no, that's a good. I mean, shit. I mean, who fucking knows? I mean,
makes sense.
I'm sure that Red Dead Redemption 2 will be just as boring as the first one was.
Oh my god!
Thanks, Jay.
Ban this man.
I watched the trailer and it's just like it's a lot of horses. It's a lot of horseback ride. I don't know. Like, I thought
Jay. Jay, I love you, man.
After coming from GTA 4.
Jay, I love you, man, but I swear you have the weirdest taste in games.
Red Dead Redemption shits on GTA 4.
Jay, if you didn't play much of Red Dead, I'm with you because I was kind of bored for the first couple hours, like all the farm chores and stuff.
I the whole game, but just like. I saw like no desire to go back. Like I've gone back to GTA 4 and like Vice City and 5 and all that, but I've never had any desire to go back to Red Dead Redemption.
I mean, if you're not into the setting and like the atmosphere, then it's not going to do.
I mean, I like cowboy stuff or Wild Wild West stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just. Well, I wish it wasn't like an open world game. I feel like if it was like a linear. I feel like it was like a linear level game. It would work out a whole lot better.
So you wanted something more like Gun.
Yeah,
like Gun,
like I don't know, just riding on horses.
Red Dead Revolver, that was linear. The Red Dead Revolver,
right around everyone like on horses, which is boring. Like I don't know, like
I don't know, man.
Like for me, it's like I can drive around the city and like listen to music. And Red Dead Redemption, because of the setting, I can't do that.
I mean, I get that people are having open world fatigue right now, but I feel like the open world formula suits Red Dead Redemption far better than a linear game would be. And like the reason I say that is because like some of my favorite moments from Red Dead Redemption were they weren't story beats at all. They were just like me hopping on my horse and riding across the plains through a thunderstorm.
And when you see the sunrise come up, it's just
and those are my favorite parts of like GTA 5 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I mean, I think like in fact the defining moment of the 7th generation to me was that moment when you ride into Mexico for the first time at night, and that song by Jose Gonzalez comes over, and it's like, you know, it's called Runaway Train, I think, but he is or So Far Away or something like that. But he's riding into Mexico, and that song kicks in.
Runaway Train is a Soul Asylum song.
Well, no. I know that.
Yeah, Far Away is the song.
Far away. There it is.
Did I tell you guys the story of how that moment was totally ruined for me?
No, I want to hear it though.
Because I was super late to the party on Red Dead. Like everyone had been hyping up the ride into Mexico, so I was like ready for the ride into Mexico. And then I went across the river, and I'm really obsessive with games. Like I just always need to save. So, or like manage, like I'm always micromanaging everything. And I think I got across the river and I like got on my horse briefly because it puts you on the horse. But then I immediately got off the horse to do something. And for some reason that breaks the scripting sequence. Like the music only plays until you get off the horse.
Yes. Yeah.
So I got off the horse and then got back on, and I just rode, and there was like no music. I was like, that's it. And then I looked it up on YouTube. I'm like, fuck.
I remember one thing I just think about the first Red Dead Redemption is that you couldn't swim.
Yeah, why can't you swim?
And I never doing the mission to like get across the river to get to Mexico, and I kept on falling. And I kept on dying. I'm like, it's just like I just got done GTA 4 and like I can swim. Like, why the fuck can I not swim in this game? Like,
swimming actually wasn't invented until 1926.
Yeah, like apparently.
Zeppelins were around before swimming.
Let's not forget that John Marston ran everywhere like he was holding in the biggest shit of his life. Like,
I feel like every character on that engine runs like that. Like,
I mean, dude, he ran like He was just like waggling his shoulders like this, and just like his legs were all bow-legged. I'm like, it looks like he's been sitting on that horse. He's running like he's been sitting on that horse for 6 hours. Like it was just the most embarrassing thing ever. But
something like non-story related that I kind of noticed was, does anybody else think there's going to be like a heavy emphasis on like crafting and survival mechanics?
I can absolutely see that.
Yeah, because they're talking about like they said like, oh, we're being chased across 3 states, like we're just trying to survive or something. And then there's shots of him like with a bow and arrow and a bear running away.
I missed the bow and arrow.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, there's bow. There's a bow scene.
As much as
I'm sure that Red Dead Redemption 2 will have its own battle royale mode in the moment.
Yeah, there you go.
probably.
This
Go ahead.
This might be cynical, but I'm just looking for gameplay elements that can be monetized in Red Dead Online. Because
I guarantee that you
fucking know.
The shark cards will come. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, this time they're probably going to be gator cards or whatever.
Jeff is 100% right. I will co-sign that. Red Dead Online is absolutely going to be a fucking thing. I mean, that's probably the reason we don't have GTA or any GTA 5 DLC is because of GTA Online.
Also,
absolutely.
also NBA 2K virtual currency, since that's Solid and Steam publisher.
You know, I'll tell you this much. Like, and I don't know if you guys caught the trailer on the PlayStation YouTube channel today, but at the end it says play on PlayStation for first access content.
I mean, we've known that for some time.
Yeah.
But what I'm
they
saying
have
is
a DLC first year.
I don't know. I don't think that's DLC. I think that's probably Red Dead Online, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, if this follows the GTA 5 model, this game isn't going to get DLC. It's just going to have the online component. A bunch of motherfuckers running around the Wild
gets
West.
online DLC. It didn't get single player DLC, but it still gets free content.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I can't wait to buy my virtual cabin in Red Dead Redemption 2 online and have my wife and my cows.
The idea of Red Dead Redemption Online is so much more compelling to me than GTA Online. So much more compelling. I would so much rather run around the Wild West with you guys and just fucking fire pistols in the air, as opposed to like, just knocking over a bank or acting stupid in GTA. That to me is far more compelling.
What's also beautiful, to interrupt that thought as well, is the fact that it's a little harder to monetize because you don't have new jets that you can introduce or new heists.
Get that horse armor in Red Dead Online, man. It's coming. You know it's coming.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it seems like that kind of content, they're going to have to nickel and dime a lot harder, and it's going to be more difficult to just wave some pretty object out there for players to buy.
They'll find a way.
I
guarantee it, dude.
Maybe I'm optimistic.
I get the feeling it's going to be a lot less frustrating, too, because, like, GTA Online, I found myself just, like, constantly getting run over by cars.
I played that shit for, like, 10 minutes. I was done.
I was like, this is fucking annoying. And in GTA Online, it's going to be like, I see a gang running over the horizon. Let's get ready. Like, less just getting destroyed out of nowhere.
Yeah, because in GTA, like, someone can literally crash a fighter jet into you from the sky. Like, nothing is happening, and then you just hear the sound, and you look up, and then you're just...
Now, what would make it really interesting is that is if you could crash a fighter plane into the sky in Red Dead Online. That would really shake up the Wild West, I think.
Hey, Jay, you mentioned...
they'll never see it coming.
You mentioned 2K virtual currency. Is Red Dead set in the same universe as NBA 2K?
Yeah, it is actually. You go into a cabin and Shaq from Kassam's is in the cabin. And he's like, Kassam! He is like, for 2,500 virtual currency, you can play as Nico Bellic from GTA 4.
It's all
connected. This is the deepest lore.
Oh, this is so deep. But I also want 2 more things real quick. I wanted to mention about Red Dead Redemption 2 is one. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I think dual wielding is a thing now.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, Arthur Morgan is shooting his pistols, and God, I'm sorry, but his face just looks so fucking generic. Like he just looks like generic cowboy man. Like John Marston was a visually arresting character. He had the scars on his face, and he was fucking, he had that fucking hat, and and he didn't dress like he dressed more like a bounty hunter than a cowboy. But Arthur Morgan just looks like a fucking he looks like a ranch hand. He looks like a country music singer. And
how many ways can we spell decoy protagonist?
Yeah, that's who knows? I hope you guys are right because I found absolutely nothing compelling about his character.
The more you sing it, the more I believe it.
But like Jeff pointed out, it's not fair to judge. It's not fair to judge him based off of a 1.5 minute trailer.
Yeah.
For sure.
I just
the only
Go
thing
ahead.
like that puts me against that is, I know it's Rockstar and their games just sell themselves, but I feel like if that was everybody's feeling and if this was like all intentional, I don't know that he'd be the face of the marketing for the game in their first trailer. Like, I don't know. That's a kind of a risk.
He looks like generic white guy protagonist 678.
He does.
See, I know they are a point of contention. This is probably one of the last things I'll say about Red Dead, but I liked GTA 5's characters because of the nuance and how easy it was to hate them. And if you just watch the trailers from when the game was first announced, that nuance is completely gone. And they look like stock standard GTA white guy and Franklin protagonist. So,
True.
Stock standard white guy and Franklin.
It's true though, right? Like you don't see how Trevor bounces off Michael or how like literally like Michael actually probably seems like the straight man in the trailers. Like you don't
absolutely
see fucking
I just hope we don't get some kind of like I hope we don't get some kind of shoehorned online co-op in the campaign where like people can jump in during a bank heist or something and play as one of the gang members, like one of Dutch's gang members. Like I hope we don't get anything like that.
I think the multiplayer will be separate. I think Rockstar has, despite GTA Online success, I think they still respect their single player experiences, and their developers have obviously been doing this for a long time.
That's
so
true.
I'm not worried about things in the single player that don't belong there. But
so I'll ask you guys one more question and we'll move on. Spring 2018. Do we think that's legit? Do we think it's going to hold?
Definitely.
On the one hand, I'd say no, but on the other hand, I'm surprised they still stuck with it today. So I think it's a 50-50.
Jeff,
I mean, spring is really far away. If you consider like April could even be spring, or I guess March is technically spring. So March,
late
still
May
6
is
months,
still spring.
still half a year with stuff of this scope. It's really hard to nail down an exact date 6 months away when everything just comes together in the last couple months. So I think they don't want to delay it, so they're just waiting until they're sure they can hit it. But I wouldn't be surprised if it slips this summer. There's no way it's 2019 though. I don't believe.
Oh no, I agree. I think
it's close. If it's not spring, it'll be summer.
I think there's every possibility this could be a September game. September 2019.
I'm saying May. It's
May. Okay.
May.
That's a good date.
That is a good date, and I hope it's right because I'd rather play. I mean, I love Red Dead Redemption, and
Red Dead's just like a summer game to me, man. I need to play that in the summer.
Well, and there's something to what Brandon says because it came out in May 2010, so or the first one did. So
same day as Alan Wake. I remember I bought both of them.
Oh, Alan Wake was so good.
Alan Wake is really good.
Poor Alan Wake.
What I did.
Get a sequel to that.
Those games came out like right after I got out of the Marine Corps, so I had like nothing but free time because I hadn't started college yet. So I would play Red Dead during the day, and then I would play Alan Wake at night.
Such a good fucking game. But Jesse just Jesse. That's what I'm talking about. If you guys in chat, or
can we post links in the YouTube chat?
Yeah, no, that's where he posted it. He's got a picture of John, or he's got a gif of John Marston running.
Oh, that's hilarious!
That is exactly what I'm talking about.
I did not remember that.
I love the thing he does with his hands a little bit as he's coming down the hill, like kind of puts his hands up.
Yeah.
Whoa! I'm going too fast.
The more I watch it, the funnier it gets.
Isn't that John's son?
I can't take a fucking outlaw seriously if he runs like that.
I think that's John's son going to like the final confrontation.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
which makes this even funnier because that's such a serious scene.
Oh, I think you're right.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's the epilogue or whatever.
Yeah, that's the end.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm calling it now. By the way, and who knows? So this will be a spoiler if it ends up happening. But I'm just predicting. John Marston kills fucking Arthur Morgan at the end of the game. If Arthur Morgan is the fucking protagonist, John Marston kills him. I'm calling it now. I think
I think
so. Fucking.
I think that John Marston's kid's going to kill Arthur Morgan. That's like a baby. He just holds the gun, and it's just like who killed Mr. Burns all over again.
I can't stop watching that fucking GIF now. All right, so I think we probably beat Red Dead Redemption 2 to death for now. I wanted to ask you guys: has anybody here played Fortnite?
I have.
I've actually been playing it for on and off for months now.
He liked it before, it was cool.
So specifically, I'm referring to the Battle Royale,
which is free to play on the
Free to play.
PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and your personal computer system.
we would really appreciate some of that sponsorship there, Epic. If you want to hook your boys up. But I played Fortnite on Tuesday night with Gabe, and I wanted to ask you guys. So Fortnite's Battle Royale mode, like Jay said, it's free to play for everybody. It's on consoles now, and it is very, very similar to PUBG. There's no vehicles yet, but I guess they're coming. It's a lot of fun, and I wanted to ask you guys. Well, this is kind of a dual question.
Was that your first Battle Royale game then?
Yeah, this is. Well, I mean, I played PUBG for like five fucking minutes. I got it to work.
That doesn't count.
So technically, yeah, this is my first Battle Royale game. And we had a fucking blast. We we played for about an hour, and it was just, such a fucking good time. And
now you know what you were missing when we were playing PUBG.
Oh my god, yeah, dude! I got upset.
No idea how much fun we had.
It made me even angrier at the fact that I could never get PUBG to work on my fucking computer. And apparently, dude, it's not an isolated issue. Like that, apparently PUBG is horribly optimized, and it's not running well on a lot of computers.
John, that's why you need to play PUBG on the Xbox One X home entertainment system, the most powerful console in the world.
Are you talking about the all-in-one Xbox entertainment system?
The most powerful console ever made.
I mean,
6 teraflops,
the greatest
bytes of RAM, 9 of which available to developers. That'll handle PUBG.
Sam, I mean, I'm sorry, but the clarity is just too terrifying for me.
I hear it's a monster.
It's.
You can't handle my monstrous pixels, John.
You can't handle my those pixels are too perfect. I'm not right. I don't deserve those pixels.
I bought way too many Taco Bell boxes to win one.
I bought one Taco Bell box
I'm
just
kidding.
to see, and I was like, no, I didn't win, so I'm not going to do that again.
We went to Taco Bell a couple of nights ago, and we got like 3 or 4 boxes, and because there was so many orders, they just threw all of it into like one big ass bag. So we need game codes.
I wanted to ask you guys, well, 2 things. One, and we can talk about this first. With Fortnite's Battle Royale hitting consoles first, do you think that takes some of the wind out of PUBG sales when it hits Xbox? And do you think that is going to affect the player base of PUBG when it finally hits consoles? Because Fortnite Battle Royale is a lot of fucking fun, and it's beat PUBG to the punch on consoles, and I think that's significant.
I still don't think it does.
Not really, because at this point, PUBG has the name.
I was just gonna say
that's something that can't be beat.
People don't want to experience Battle Royale survival. They want to experience PUBG because that's what people.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is such an awful name for a game that you can't forget it. Actually, it's like
what the fuck does that even mean? PlayerUnknown. Like, what the fuck? That's
the name of the developer who started the whole mod thing.
That's his alias or whatever. Like that's
his online name, like American McGee.
Okay, cool.
Honestly, it's like a joke. It's like I finally got this game to happen without it being a mod that gets taken down for Arma or Sony shuttering H1Z1 and Daybreak Games and all that. So,
this is very off topic.
People know that like this is a real Battle Royale game.
This is very off topic, but I was reading a Game Informer interview with PlayerUnknown like 1 or 2 months ago. And like in their magazine, and like I thought it was cool about how he came from like an art like background, like he like DJ'd and shit, and like made music.
That was awesome.
And like he did photography, and like he was just like, he's like, I wanted to make a new experience of a game, so that's how he started modding. Like he didn't come from like a video game background; he just came from like I wanted to experiment background.
Let me ask you guys this, and this is the other thing I wanted to ask you about PUBG and Fortnite. So everybody is aware. If you're not, you should be aware that Bluehole got really upset at Epic for announcing a battle royale game, specifically mentioning PUBG in their marketing, I guess. And they said that they were going to consider further action, and they got some blowback for that. And then they said, well, no, we're not upset about. They came back and they said, well, we want to clarify. We are not upset about the battle royale game. We're upset about using PUBG's name as part of the marketing, which I'm not sure I buy that or not, because I think if that was the case, they would have done that. They would have done that to begin with. And Sam, to answer your question in chat, yes, you can. So I wanted to ask you guys, like, one, what do you guys think about this whole deal? And 2, do you think Bluehole has any kind of legal leg to stand on? And anybody who wants to start with that can take that thread and run with it.
Like you said, the issue is not that they're making a PUBG clone. I think, despite what they said they didn't like them using their name. But the other weird thing is, like, for a lot of people who don't know, PUBG uses the Unreal Engine, which is made by Epic Games. So this is like if you're running a restaurant and then someone opens a competing restaurant, but they also supply you your food for your restaurant, it starts to raise questions like, when PUBG reaches out to Epic and says, hey, we're having trouble getting this thing to work in our game, but it's working perfectly fine in Fortnite. It's just like, are they really giving you the full? It's just kind of a conflict of interest, right? When you've got a competing title and you're also basically supplying the competitor with their own product and tools. It's even though it's different,
it's a complicated situation.
I think it's also at the end that Fortnite was just kind of like, hey, we're gonna release this battle royale mode like on consoles, like a week from today.
The other weird thing going on is like there was a thing with Tencent. I don't know how many people know. There was a rumor a while ago that Tencent was looking to buy Bluehole, and then Bluehole came out and said, "This is not true. We're not doing anything." And then the Fortnite came out, and then Bluehole went and said, "Hey, we don't like this." And now Bluehole confirmed that Tencent is looking at buying them or investing in them, and Tencent has a 40% stake in Epic.
Yeah, they do.
So it's like there's a really weird circle going around here, and I'm not clear what everyone's intentions are, but it could very well be a lot of politicking and posturing.
I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I know what Bluehole says, and I know they said, okay, well, we are going to, our problem is not with the fact that it's a battle royale game per se. Our problem is with the fact that it is playing off our name. But I feel like if they really meant that, I feel like if that was really the case, then they would have just said that to begin with. As it stands, the original wording from Bluehole, to me anyway, makes it sound like they were upset that Fortnite has any sort of battle royale mode at all. And if that's the case, I mean, Bluehole needs to fucking suck it up, because every game under the fucking sun.
Wait till E3 next
going
year.
Forward. Wait till fucking Destiny 2 gets its battle royale mode. Like, I'm not fucking kidding. Like, everything is going to be battle royale now.
I can't wait until Scalebound gets its battle royale.
Oh Jesus! But I mean, and so this is the way it is with games. Everything plays off everything else, and everything is inspired by everything else. I mean, to me, this is like Square Enix saying we are going to sue Zeboyd Games for Cosmic Star Heroine because their battle system is similar to Chrono Trigger's, or I don't know. Like this leaves a really.
A lot of it's just like.
Sorry, go ahead. You go ahead first, dude.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just like Bluehole is somewhat jealous that Epic was able to get out like a console battle royale game before they did.
See,
like out of the blue, no pun intended.
I thought that at first, and I think that probably still plays into it. But this situation is complicated. There's no two ways about it. It's very gray, and I'm not really happy with either of them, because I think Bluehole definitely could have worded what they were saying initially a little bit better. It's certainly, I'm inclined to believe them, and here's the reason why. They didn't go after Rockstar with their whole battle royale that they had out near instantly after PUBG was a success. They didn't go after Culling.
Because that's a fucking, I mean, dude, going up against Rockstar, that's like fucking David going.
Yes, but hang on. They haven't gone after anyone else like Arma, keeping on using the mod, or DayZ, some of the stuff they've held on to there. They didn't go after the Culling, which actually beat them to Battle Royale on console. It was so bad that everyone forgot about it.
I've never even fucking heard of that.
No one acknowledges that. No one acknowledges it, but technically speaking, it was the first Battle Royale game on console. It's just so bad, no one ever heard about it. They tried to cash in on the popularity. So
it's cold.
I'm just saying it feels like there's a grain of truth to this. I'm not saying they're 100% in the right, and they're definitely jealous, but it's a very awkward situation, and it's certainly a bit of a scumbag move on Epic's part, at least in my opinion, for them to suddenly, immediately throw this out, and they're still supplying assets, and they have knowledge of networking, they have knowledge of patches, things like that. It's an uncomfortable relationship to me on both sides.
So you think
that's my thoughts?
You think there's a conflict of interest?
I think there's a conflict of interest for both of them in multiple ways.
Well, I mean, do you think they have a legal leg to stand on? I don't see how they do.
Without looking at the legal documents of like whatever was signed between the two of them, absolutely no idea. There's not really any precedent for this kind of situation in anything that I've tried to find.
I don't think we're going to see any action from Bluehole at all on this.
And I know that Sam talks about like the colon coming out and like no one paying attention to it, but like you have to remember like Fortnite's already like an established name in like console gaming. So for an established game like Fortnite, just to like drop a battle royale mode like out of the blue, free to play, and like Bluehole's been hyping up like console PUBG for like a while, and so has Microsoft. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think it's gonna damage the sales of Battlegrounds like at all, but like it has to be like I don't know like damaging to know that like they're preparing this release on the Xbox One this fall, and then just a competitor just like comes out with like their own version of like basically PUBG like out of the blue for free.
I'll say this much: like I know a lot of people have said that Fortnite runs and is optimized much better than PUBG. And considering that I've never actually gotten fucking PUBG to work, I believe it. Which is pretty impressive considering that it chugged a little bit here and there on PS4, but generally it ran pretty smooth. Fortnite, I'm talking about, ran pretty smoothly for Gabe and I. And we had a lot of fun. So I don't know. I mean, if PUBG were to come to console, or specifically at PS4, which I'm sure it will someday, I'm sure it's not going to be an exclusive to Xbox for forever. I don't know if, I don't know. Like I don't know if the PS4 or the Xbox One has room for 2 huge Battle Royale games. I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from,
Yeah. Another thing about this that's kind of weird to me, I need someone to fact check me on this. Is Fortnite still in early access?
It is.
It is.
Okay.
And that was a controversy in and of itself with the paid early access and the gameplay altering microtransactions that they had, and then they're going free to play. That's a whole nother mess.
So I can see from Bluehole's perspective this being like, are you guys like, did you guys just whip this thing out and put it out without even finishing what your game is? Because Fortnite is like very specifically like a Minecraft-esque.
Minecraft tower defense kind of game.
And I'll jump on that really quick. I've played a lot of Fortnite. It was given to me on PS4 as a gift. Yep. And the fact is there are campaign missions in there that are still unfinished or half-baked that will crash on you if you try to launch them. There's a lot of stuff they haven't delivered on yet.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can imagine that being frustrating from Bluehole.
Even though it's free, it doesn't change the fact that resources are being used to make these other modes when the main stuff isn't finished. It kind of reminds me of Ark in a little bit of the way, except they charge for everything. It's like finish your game that we actually paid money for before you go splitting your. I see that.
So I'm guessing you're not a fan of Star Citizen.
let's not go there.
So I love Star Citizen because I built a computer in 2011 and then I bought Star Citizen shortly after. It didn't run. I built a new computer in 2016 and it still doesn't run. So I might go through 3 computers before I actually have something that can play Star Citizen.
I don't think Star Citizen runs for anyone, both computer-wise and financially.
I think you need 4 1080 Ti's to play it.
Star Citizen is basically just like a dream at this point.
Yeah, $160 million worth of funding has gone into that project, though. Crowdsourced, and no one's gotten the game out of it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think we can probably move on from.
I'll say that Fortnite is fun if you're interested about the whole battle royale, game style for a free game. I know Gabe in our group chat was talking about how it's clearly not finished. The sounds, the steps are very off and whatnot. And it's
that's one thing.
It's a free game. I feel like for Xbox, I feel like for Xbox people, Fortnite Battle Royale is a great preview of what you can expect from PUBG when it comes out in the fall.
I don't know how it is. I don't know if the same glitch is present on Xbox One, but when Gabe and I were playing it on Tuesday, there's this sound glitch when you're in the van and you're about to get dropped out, where it sounds like it sounds like you're driving down a highway and you've got the back window open, so it's
that's present in the Xbox version.
Okay, yeah, dude, I ripped my fucking headphones off and screamed. It's painful. It's fucking painful.
It's clearly a game that was it's clearly a game mode that was rushed out of a game that's even not finished yet.
I can see that.
But I will say for a free to play game, I feel like it's a great preview of the whole battle royale game style. I mean, if you have an Xbox and you're interested in PUBG, I highly just recommend you download this and just play a couple games just to see if you actually like it or not.
A few months ago, PUBG had a glitch where whenever you would be in the plane, there would always be this loud audio pop every single time. So they were just, ripping that off too.
Let me ask you guys one more question about Fortnite. Do you guys think that with the Battle Royale mode, do you think the actual base game gets completely fucking abandoned now?
No.
By players, by players, not by Epic.
There will always
difficult.
be people who want that kind of Minecraft gameplay.
Okay, that makes sense, I guess. All right. Well, I think we've probably beaten Fortnite and old Bluehole to death here. So before we went live, I had offered the guys a choice of topics tonight, and the choices were talking about good level design in games, or with the there were some additional screens that came out last week of Chris Redfield and the Not a Hero DLC. And I asked if everybody wanted to rank the Resident Evil series, and good level design went out because not everybody here has played every Resident Evil game, much to the chagrin of Brandon. I know Brandon wanted to talk about Resident Evil.
I haven't played every single one, but played the ones that matter.
He played enough. But I think we're going to talk about what makes good level design, and it's a topic that I don't think gets talked about enough. And I think there are some really good examples to this generation of what makes a great level in a game, and one that stands out to me. And you guys feel free to jump in with whatever you have. But one that stands out to me, and I think is probably this generation, two in the same game actually. Two of the pinnacles of level design and from this generation are probably from Dishonored 2. And the ones I'm talking about specifically are the Clockwork Mansion and the Aramis Stilton Manor. In the Clockwork Mansion, the walls are constantly shifting. It's got a real crazy BioShock vibe to it with, Kieran Jindosh coming over the speaker. He even sounds like Andrew Ryan when he's talking. And you can make it through the Clockwork Mansion without ever actually setting foot inside the mansion itself. You can stay in the walls and find twists and turns and make it all the way through the mansion without actually setting foot in the level. And it is genius the way it plays out. And I wasn't aware of this the first time I went through. And then with Aramis Stilton's Manor, there's a really nifty time travel mechanic where you're walking around and you've got this little thing, you flip it out, and it's like a pane of glass. And when you're looking at the pane of glass, you can see in the present, you can see the past. And this mansion is old and ruined and decadent, but in the past it's fine, and everybody's living there and there's parties. And as you're walking around with this old rundown mansion around you, on the pane of glass as you're walking, whatever you move that pane of glass over, you can see servants walking around in a lively mansion, and you can jump back and forth in time. And you are required to do that in order to make it through different parts of the mansion. In the present, there might be a part of the mansion that's collapsed, and then you can look through the pane of glass and you can see that, oh, there's stairs there. So in the past, I can walk up these stairs, and then you look around to make sure there's no guards. You warp to the past, you run up the stairs, and then you warp back to the present, and you're able to. And I have never seen anything done like that. And I just thought it was such a cool way to design a level. And it was so, and that to me was a really awesome and recent example of how a good, really just ingenious level design can completely draw you into a gaming experience and completely immerse you in that world. And the level itself, like Aramis Stilton's Manor, was so good that it's near the end of the game, but the final few scenarios of the game were actually disappointing to me because nothing ever really reached the heights of what I just played. And I wanted to ask you guys what are some good examples of level design to you, and why? And anybody can jump in and take that, where there's no set order here. So whoever wants to grab that first.
Well, those are obviously really good examples. I would think another one, which funnily enough was from the same year, last year, and also features time travel, was Cause and Effect from Titanfall 2.
Oh,
that was really good. And it was funny to me that they came up with that independently, but those games released in the same time frame.
I just want to point out Titanfall 2, the game that Jeff has yet to play.
I haven't played it either.
Titanfall 2 is the best multiplayer shooter of this generation.
I'd agree with that. No,
I have a copy right here. I just haven't played it.
If you want to get into spoilers on the level, that's cool. I just don't want to I'll just tune out or whatever.
No, I don't know. Sam, can you discuss it without getting spoilery?
I mean, it's a general statement that it uses a really neat mechanic in a very interesting way that no other, at least in recent memory to my mind, first-person shooter has done. it requires you to be very quick on your feet and to swap a certain type of mode very, very quickly. And anyone who's played it obviously is going to know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it's a very short level, but it's by far the best level, easily.
And it really uses that sense of speed and movement and traversal that Titanfall 2 is known for. I know exactly what which level you're talking about. That was a good one. But these also don't have to be from this generation. Bear in mind, like, I mean, there are great levels going back to the Super Nintendo era. Fucking from Final Fantasy VI, Kefka's Tower is one to me. That Kefka's Tower to me was one of the best JRPG final dungeons ever. You simply because you had 3 separate parties, and so and you could switch between those parties at will. So it felt like climbing Kefka's Tower and destroying the Warring Triad and getting to the top. Those parties, they only meet when they confront Kefka. So it really felt like you were, as opposed to like, your standard JRPG dungeon where you take, 4, you got a total, cast of 8 or 9 characters, and you take 3 or 4 up the last dungeon, you go fight whoever and you win, right? But in Kefka's Tower, you were switching between every member of your 3 parties. And so you had 12 characters out of a cast of like 18 running around the final dungeon and working in tandem and pulling switches. And I had never seen that before in an RPG. And so I thought that was a really cool way to kind of raise the stakes at the end of the game and really make it feel like the entire party was invested in the fight against Kefka, which is why to this day, Kefka's Tower is probably my favorite RPG dungeon of all time. So that's another really good example of of great level design, but from the 16-bit era. Maddie, what about you, man?
I'm thinking it's not like necessarily a level, but like the whole of the Mojave Wasteland from New Vegas has always been really interesting to me because I watched a video essay recently. I think it was H Bomber guy, his like critique of Fallout 3, and he talks about how like Fallout 3 just lets you go wherever you want from the start, so there's no like level scaling. And New Vegas, like somehow, I don't know how they did it, but somehow it like funnels you to the south, and then you can kind of like curve around. You hit all the towns, you curve around back to the east, and then go back up to New Vegas. And it's like this slow progression curve, but it feels so natural. Like they lead you through it, but it feels like you are choosing to go this way. And it's just like amazing how they like laid the breadcrumbs out for you to go that way.
So it's almost like the illusion of it's almost like the illusion of choice is what you're saying.
Yeah, because you could go north, you could like run straight to New Vegas, but like the way the quests are laid out and the enemies and everything, and
it makes it clear that there's that sense of progression if you go this particular direction.
Yeah, and you kind of only notice it in hindsight that they were like kind of leading you with a little treat down the road.
To build on that, I think ties in really well is one of the ones I was going to mention. It's the latest Uncharted games. It started with Uncharted 4, but more specifically, The Lost Legacy. Naughty Dog's really evolved their level design from where before it was literally just going down a hallway, and now it's like Matt said, the illusion of choice, where right in The Lost Legacy you start in a bunch of alleys, and there's so many different ways you can go, but like just playing it naturally, I just walked and I just ended up going the right way. Because it just, the way that it all comes together, there's little cues, like you might see people in the distance or like a little light over there, and it just subconsciously draws you to the right spot.
Yeah.
And it's really subtle, but it really works. I struggle to remember any time in that game where I was like wandering around, which does happen to me sometimes in games where I'm like, where do I go next? Like, and some of these areas are huge, so it's really impressive that they still manage to get you from A to B without it feeling like they're pointing you or putting a marker there. Like it's just...
Absolutely.
I don't know how they do it. I'm not smart enough to understand that, but I know that it works.
I haven't played Lost Legacy, but I have played 4, and I'd back that up 100%. Uncharted 4 is extremely good at making you think it's a way bigger game than it is.
Well, I think a great example is the Jeep chase, right? When you're going through that town, you could turn right, turn left, go around it, but you end up where you need to be.
But that's great. It feels so much bigger than it really is. Like I was like, man, how many fucking side streets are there that I can turn down? That's actually, I was going to say Madagascar, but actually that Jeep chase is a much better example of of making something appear that it's larger than it really is. And while we're on the subject of Naughty Dog, I feel like we would be remiss if we did not mention the sewers in The Last of Us. When you get to the sewers, and it starts when you find that wrecked boat after Pittsburgh, and you find that letter from a guy named Ish, and he says, "Hey, you know, I've crashed my boat. I'm going to go try to find refuge in the sewers." And you get to the sewers, and you find the remnants of this whole town or civilization that
Underground society.
Yeah, this underground society that Ish built down there, and there was what is very obviously a school, or was a school, and living quarters and a kitchen, and there's these notes everywhere from this guy Ish saying, "Hey, we're having spaghetti tonight, blah blah blah, or we got some power, we have power now, so we're letting the kids watch movies, we've opened a school, we're collecting rainwater," and there's even a note where Ish says, there's a girl I like, and then going through the sewers bit by bit with that kid who's not Ellie, I can't remember his name, but bit by bit, and piecing together, not just what had happened to these people down in the sewer, but the lives they had lived down there, and the community that they had built. That really, really moved me. It really hit me hard, and I thought that going through there and encountering these infected, who were quite obviously the remnants of the people who used to live down there, used to live these lives, was just such a powerful moment, and really that was like the moment in The Last of Us to me that kind of like elevated it from just being like a really, really competent Naughty Dog game to something that came, I think, as close as a game can to transcending that medium.
That's a good point. Like, level design isn't just the physical layout or physical construction of a level. It's
Absolutely.
the storytelling within that level, and how you use the environment and the objects and stuff in there to tell something that happened without a cutscene. And a game I played this year that did that really well was Prey, and I'm sure Sam knows what I'm talking about. Like,
Absolutely.
That everything about that game, despite some of the problems I had with it, it feels lived in. Like, everything you look at, every office you go into, every room, you get a sense of like, this is what life was like here when these people were working. But you also get a sense of like, oh my God, this is what happened to those people. And a lot of it's spelled out with audio logs or emails, but a lot of it's just told through the level and seeing certain things visually. And I think that's also underappreciated a lot of times. And I wanted to just, we talked a lot about single player games. Before we kind of move on, I wanted to make sure I mentioned a multiplayer game. Rainbow Six Siege is one of the first games where I actually noticed the level design. The nature of that game, the environments are destructible, but they're not all destructible. And at first, I was really disappointed with that, because the E3 reveal, I was like, oh, fuck, I can just blow out any wall. But as I played the game, I discovered that's actually way more boring and less interesting than the way they've designed it, because all the restrictions they put on that are very clever and make the game very well balanced. And there's nowhere perfect to hide, and there's nowhere perfect to attack. You can't hole up in a corner, because in that corner there's an exposed kind of hatch above you that can be blown out with C4, and you can't hide in this corner because there's a window there that the attackers will peek through. And every single advantage you might have on defense is countered by an advantage that the offense has. And it's just amazing how big and intricate some of the buildings and levels are in it. And it all just works, where it's like a constant risk reward type thing. And I love it in that game. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, that's exactly where my head went when you said good level design. I'm like, well, I'm thinking about like SOCOM 2, Sujo. I start thinking about like MMOs, because what's interesting about multiplayer maps, like, you have to live with that, and the community starts picking it apart immediately. So you kind of make those choices, and you have to balance it up front. And little things in an unbalanced game can really stand out. But games like Siege did a good job, and there are some really iconic maps that people look back at and be like, oh yeah, the presidential plane, like, everybody remembers running around on that thing. And then people who've played MMOs, you'll find like the Guild Wars 2 Battleground is something like, I mean, they did a really good job of balancing and turning into this really iconic space. And that's, I think, in part what those multiplayer maps need, is just kind of a good backdrop something that stands out, and quite a bit of balancing that goes into plotting it out.
Well, I know that I've been talking a lot about level design, but I was hoping you guys wouldn't mind if I mentioned one more.
Okay.
That popped in my
Go
head.
for it.
And I really want to bring up What Remains of Edith Finch, which is a 3-hour game. I played it. I reviewed it actually for STGC, and I gave it a perfect score. And you know, Edith being the titular character, obviously she's the protagonist, and you see the game through her eyes. But I would say the main character of the game is the house itself. And the way it's designed and the way that you can almost feel her deceased family members still present in the house as you're visiting, because the whole game is visiting each one of their rooms and reading a journal, and then you step into the shoes of that character, and every time you open a journal, every time you read it, there's a different gameplay element, from a like a first person platform adventure to an isometric RPG, to contextual, or like a movement based gameplay. You're a baby, and it is just unbelievable what they were able to do to use the various rooms in that game, the level design itself, to draw you in and put you in Edith's shoe, and not just in Edith's shoes, but also the shoes of the family members that she was reading about. There's even one. It's like a one of your family members was a horror actress back in the 70s, and when you're reliving her memories, the game becomes a first-person horror game with cell shading, which is just, and I was just blown away. And it plays all these really cool horror tropes, and the house itself is connected. All the rooms are connected by all these secret passageways, and there's actually, which seems silly on the face of it, but once you start reading these journals, you actually find out, and you read about her ancestor who built the house. There's actually a plausible reason for all these passageways being built, and the way that the game's narrative is just intertwined into the house. Like, Edith will say something, and her words will appear on a wall and then like flitter away. I loved everything about that game, and the house itself is the star of the show. And as far as just something that is completely immersive and a level that just completely draws you in and keeps you there this year, like, it doesn't get better than Edith Finch to me personally. But Jay and Brandon, we haven't heard from.
Yeah, I was going to mention the Tony Hawk series. That
game, good one, dude.
Those games were defined by their skate parks. I mean, like, who doesn't remember the first level of Tony Hawk 1? Everyone does.
That's actually a really good fucking point.
Is it the warehouse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the big half pipe on the right. And then
rocking that cracked air, man. Fucking, oh, dude.
Breaking through that glass to get those tapes.
Now you really got me sad about how shitty Tony Hawk came out.
Then here's a good example of how the Tony Hawk series got too complex for itself. Because, like, I feel like the levels kept getting bigger and bigger as the series went on, right? Because, like, they have to make it bigger, better, right?
Cruise ship from 3?
Yeah. Eventually, it got to the point where, like, they were just too complex. Like, for me, that was around Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, where it was, like, they almost went just straight up open world with it. And I was just like, these actually aren't fun environments to really skate through anymore. Because I just enjoyed the series more when they were more focused, smaller levels. And then Tony Hawk 5, the travesty that it is, actually they remade the warehouse level in Tony Hawk 5, and then they expanded on it because they can't just make it one for one, because that would be good.
They did that in Underground 2 as well.
Oh yeah, they did.
Because the warehouse is renamed Tutorial, and there's like a whole new like section you can like jump through like a wall to get into, and it's like a modern day skate park.
Okay, maybe they just used that version for THPS 5, but it was awful.
So I have 3 choices because I couldn't really eliminate any in my mind. So I'm gonna go now. So first one, because I've been playing this a lot lately, I recently rebought it on Steam, is on Rez's Area 3.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna choose Area 1, but I feel like Area 3 to me has the best music in the game overall, and I feel like just the vibe of it. Like, I love Rez in general, like aesthetically. I think it's such a beautiful game.
Wow, you're singing Brandon's song.
For me, it's one of the best like designed games ever. It's up there with me. It's up there for me with Ridge Racer Type 4, like design wise, and like the Wipeout series. And I feel like Area 3 of Rez, like I feel like the music is a perfect choice, and I love everything like Area 3 does for me personally. My next choice is the last level in Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge. When you fall,
good choice, dude.
when you fall down the rope and you have to go down all the tunnels. I've played a lot of point-and-click games in my life. I actually skipped school for a whole month my freshman year of high school to master like from beginning to end of Monkey Island 2 on the 360.
It's a bold education strategy.
Yeah, and I got in a lot of trouble actually. And
oh yeah, you skipped school for a fucking month.
Yeah, but like point and click games, they're stressful, but like you always have time to like think about like what you need to do, and like the end of Monkey Island 2, like you don't have any time to think at all, and it's like the most fucking stressful thing I think ever done in the game, because you have LeChuck like literally just following you around the whole time, and like you're trying to assemble a voodoo doll, and I feel like it masters like what makes point and click games like so enjoyable, but at the same time it turns it up to like the next level.
That's a really good pick. I haven't thought of Monkey Island in so long.
They're actually playable. Monkey Island 1 and 2 are playable on the Xbox One.
Really?
So, yep, they are.
You get an Xbox One. Not really though.
And my last one is Yokosuka from I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, from the first Shenmue game.
I have no idea what that is.
It's the city.
Oh, okay. Well, that would explain why I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I needed to choose an open world game for this, and I feel like that game to stay still the most in-depth like open world game I've played. I love the attention, the detail like they took with that city, and I don't know, I haven't immersed myself in a world like that ever since the first Shenmue. I think the thing that's come closest to me is either GTA 4 or Sleeping Dogs.
So I got distracted by something on Twitter that I will share with you guys in a minute. Has anybody not gone?
No, but I was going to add something real quick. Anybody who's interested in stuff like this, definitely check out Mark Brown on YouTube. He does a series called Game Maker's Toolkit, where he just like kind of looks at.
That's pretty. So hold on, what was his name?
Mark Brown.
Mark Brown. Okay, I'll have to look that up.
And yeah, he just put out a video on like Metroid 2, and it like compares the different remakes. And he's got
that sounds fascinating actually, because I love Samus Returns. So that actually sounds really fascinating.
It's a really good one. And then he's got a whole series called Boss Keys, which he's like just systematically going through every Zelda game and like dissecting the dungeons to like see how they compare. He gets really in depth with it.
I'll tell you what game has terrible level design.
Which game is that?
NBA 2K18, the neighborhood thing, fucking garbage.
I'll tell you what game has shit level design is Bubsy 3D.
Hey.
Bubsy 3D is fucking trash, bro.
Bubsy 3D is great.
Endless trash.
Great level design is Saki Remastered.
Saki 2, the Sockening.
We jumped the shark already.
You guys are pieces of shit. Never seen.
Yeah, this.
I just realized Finneman's not here. Saki jokes don't work.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Can I throw one more game out?
You can.
Level design?
Please, anything to
Going back to multiplayer, and this, Brandon, you actually got me thinking about this when you're talking about how sometimes something being too complicated is a problem. The greatest Halo map of all time, Blood Gulch. You got 2 bases.
Super simple.
You got a road, 2 hills, some rocks on one side, some power-ups.
I mean, it's the same idea.
It's
Two worlds. What's that Unreal Tournament map that's like the same thing? Was it 2 worlds?
That sounds right. But yeah, it's like that map and remakes of that map are still the most popular thing in the series, by far, easily.
Well, time will do that too. Like, I think the new age of like complex multiplayer maps with that kind of attempted balancing are still going to be iconic. Stuff like Ballroom Blitz and Battlefield 1. That was pretty well put together. I mean, it's just as complex, but same thing as in terms of like funneling people into certain areas and having people in certain focal points.
Speaking of simple games, how about D-Dust and D-Dust 2? Like, those are just... I will never not like be able to go to sleep and just like dream about every corner of those maps.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, I'm surprised nobody's mentioned Silent Hill 2, the apartment complex.
Simply because I actually don't think that's all that great.
I do.
It's just a bunch of locked doors, and then
it's
you
it's mostly just a bunch of locked doors.
You just try all the doors till you find the one that's not
I'm
locked.
talking about the atmosphere. I'm talking about the atmosphere.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
that's different though, I think.
The atmosphere, like when you walk in and there's a fucking pyramid head raping one of those mannequin monsters. Like, oh god, oh, dude, Silent Hill fucks me. Or what about the police station in Resident Evil 2?
That's better, yeah.
That's a great, yeah. That was actually, or shit, the fucking Arklay Mansion in Resident Evil 1. Yeah, where it all started, man. Or you could even throw in the castle in Resident Evil 4.
For sure.
Yeah, or the village. I mean, Resident Evil 4 is a fucking massive.
What about
The village
chapter?
is good.
What about chapter?
Go
13
back
in
to it
Final
again,
Fantasy
and it's different
15?
than it was.
Hey, chapter 13 of Final Fantasy 15 gets a bad rap.
Hey, John. Speaking of,
Because it's terrible.
They just
It gets a bad rap
because
because
Final
it
Fantasy
deserves everything.
15. Actually, they chapter 12. There's
I
a
was
whole
going to
new
say
line
that they
thing.
added a new cutscene. Brandon, did you hear?
Yeah, the update today. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a whole new thing.
Apparently, it's actually a cutscene explaining like Ifrit and Shiva and why they're opposing each other. So it's actually based around the Astrals. But
I'll have to play that on the X this year in full 4K.
I'm really
that
looking
probably
forward-
should have been in the game.
Yes, I agree. I absolutely agree. It should have. And as much as I love Final Fantasy 15, and I will carry water for that game all fucking day. What's that, babe? Okay. I will carry water for that game all fucking day long. But I will admit that there are things that should have been in the game from Jump Street, and scenes like that are absolutely one of them. Having said that, I'm going to do a full replay of the game in December when all the DLC is out, provided I am able to finish Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in time. And you better
All the
fucking
DLC
believe
won't be out though. They're
it'll be
planning
out
more.
December. Really?
Didn't you hear?
There's more.
Holy
There's going to
shit.
be more, and they're considering a second season pass.
No fucking I'm actually okay with it because I love Final Fantasy 15, and I'll spend more time with the.
Fuck that! Put everyone on FF7.
I'll put.
Please.
That's enough. We
I
got
am
15.
really
We've moved on.
looking forward to playing Final Fantasy 7 in 2021. I don't know about you guys, but it's going to be
25.
phenomenal. 25? You think 25?
So here's the betting pool. I can write everyone's names down really quick. Values for bets and whatever. What comes out first? Death Stranding or Final Fantasy 7 Remaster?
Death
Final
Stranding.
Fantasy 7
Death Stranding.
remastered, or
Yeah.
no? Final Fantasy by far.
Death Stranding comes out
Yeah.
first.
No, Death Stranding is a fucking PS5 game. That is not a PS4 game.
I think
I don't know.
Final
Like, if
Fantasy
you
7 is
go
too.
back and look, what's the longest Kojima's taken to ship a game? Like between games.
I mean, Metal Gear
I
Solid.
bet you it's not longer than 4 or 5 years.
I don't know, man. Like,
That baby's going to be a teenager by the time they get done with it.
yeah, and yeah, and he's what, like 4 now, 5?
I don't know. I think it'll get done.
I don't like what, but here's the thing. What is the barometer for actually considering a full release for Final Fantasy VII Remake? Because it's an episodic game. So
I'm talking about like Death Stranding will be out before episode 1 of FF7 Remake will be out.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Like,
man.
I don't think that's coming. I think Kingdom Hearts 3 is still a year away, and I think
Kingdom Hearts
FF7
3
is like a year or two after that. Like, I don't think I think they have like 2 people working
Kingdom
on
Hearts 3 is gonna be the best cowboy game of 2018.
Kingdom Hearts is absolutely a 2018 game. I believe that. I think we're absolutely getting that game next year. I think they fucking have to. It was announced in 2013. 5
They don't
years.
have to do anything.
I think it's gonna be crazy that when it comes out next year, it would have been like 13 years since I played the second game.
Unfucking believable. I played the second
And
game.
I did not play any of the spin-offs, so it's been a long time.
I played the second game in 2002. 2002, I played Kingdom Hearts 2, and now we're getting 3. It's kind of fun. No.
The first
That
one
was
came out in
Kingdom Hearts
2002.
That was Kingdom Hearts 1. I played Kingdom Hearts 2 actually in Afghanistan in 2006. So it'll still have been
Over a decade.
12 years between Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3, which is fucking unbelievable.
For a Kingdom Hearts game, that's just
Get your
a
shit together,
long
Square Enix.
wait.
Get your shit together, Square Enix.
and like the thing is like a lot of spin-offs were garbage, and they
I
just
want.
made the story complicated. I mean, like the second one made the story complicated, but the spin-offs made it like way too complicated.
Hey, Jay, before we end real quick, because we're going to end real quick, I while we're on the topic of RPGs, I have to throw out to all my Switch owners out there: go pick up Golf Story. Go pick up Golf Story.
Oh,
It
yeah,
is-
golf story looks more fun than everybody's golf. Yeah, go buy that.
Golf Story. Hey, Jeff, did you just catch a bug?
I'm trying to.
There's been one floating around.
I have my camera on today. There's been a fruit
Podcast,
fly
dude.
going around.
Oh my God, it's killing me. But
It's
go
after
pick
my
up Golf
birthday.
Story. Golf Story, it is like a cross between Mario Golf on Game Boy Color and Earthbound. Like that is what it is.
How is it like Earthbound? I'm very curious.
So it's got that really quirky sense of humor that Earthbound does. Like it actually, like within 30 minutes, I'm like, oh my god, this is Earthbound. Like the sense of humor and the visual fidelity of the game. It looks like a nicer version of Earthbound. Like visually, it reminds me a lot of Earthbound. The golf mechanic, and it's got RPGs. It's got gear. Like you buy different, golf clubs with more attack power, and there's like those. You get experience, and you can level up your power or your stance or your aim. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff, and it's a meaty fucking game apparently. It is literally a golf Earthbound RPG hybrid. And
Cuphead finally comes out tomorrow as well.
Cuphead. Oh my god, I can't believe Cuphead comes out tomorrow. That's nuts.
I can tell you
I
right
am
now.
so excited for that.
Our buddy Rand Althor19 has been playing it for review, and he told me offline he's really enjoying it. He also told me it's hard as fucking balls.
Yeah, it looks like a blast to play.
I'll get it on Steam tomorrow.
Do we want to predict what the reviews are going to be?
I'm
thinking high 8s.
Does it get blasted for the difficulty or praised? That's
I think
the deciding factor.
Praised. I think it'll get praised for the difficulty.
Then you're talking
all taglines will be like, this looks like your kid's game, but guess what? It's not.
It is one of the most visually arresting games I've ever seen. Like the level of animation and the visual fidelity in the animation of that game.
I was watching Polygon play it yesterday, and they were doing the carrot boss. And I think it's just funny how the carrot had like a third eye.
I saw that too. Yeah, I saw that too. I saw an onion boss too.
It's fun, but it's like
there's an onion boss
at the same time. Yeah.
But anyway, I think we'll go ahead and end it here. Great conversation. I really like the level design conversation. That was really cool to talk about. I want to remind everybody that we've got some guests coming up over the next couple of weeks. Next week we have our friends Wout, who is of course at the Hashtagonist on Twitter, and Steve Spahn, who is the CEO of Able Gamers. They are going to be on the podcast at the same time, so that's going to be fucking crazy. Then the next week, the week after that, we have Seamus Blackley, who is the father of Xbox.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Nice.
Seamus Blackley will be on SDGC.
We couldn't get Jay Allard, though.
We couldn't get Jay Allard. I tried to get Peter Moore. I wanted Peter Moore to get on Twitter and pull up a tattoo and have it say SDGC on it. But sadly, we couldn't make that happen. But we did get Seamus Blackley, who is literally the father of Xbox. So please get out there.
Have you seen his Twitter profile? It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah,
so some people call me the father of Xbox. They call Child Protective Services. So do us a favor, guys, and help us promote that, because Seamus Blackley is a pretty big get, and we're really excited to have him on. We'll have a bunch of cool questions for him. We've got something really cool coming up next week, along with Wout and Steve. It's kind of Jeff's brainchild. Jeff, are you ready to let the cat out of the bag, or do you want to hold on to it for a little while longer?
No, it's not really a secret.
We've tweeted about it.
Have we? Okay.
I have shared Jeff's tweets about it on the official podcast Twitter.
Okay.
So we've been working on a top 100 list that is definitely going to be
controversial.
Controversial. It's going to make a lot of people angry.
I'm already angry.
I'm already upset about it.
I already love it.
I will say the top 10 or 15 games are all very good games, and I don't think anyone will have a problem with them. It's the order of them, and it's some of the games that are really far down the list that are going to raise eyebrows. But
am I allowed to spoil a tiebreaker?
No. Don't spoil
anything. We'll leave it all
I did last night.
Don't spoil anything, but I guarantee you Jimmies are going to be fucking rustled all over the place.
All I'm going to say
how many of my Jimmies will be rustled?
GTA 4 is a better game than Final Fantasy 6.
Oh.
And I love GTA too.
There will be new Jimmies that you didn't even know you had.
Oh my god, you're gonna have to grow new Jimmies in order so we can rustle them next week, because I guarantee you, it is going to get heated on this podcast next week. Probably like you've never seen. It's gonna get fucking heated, and with Wout and Steve on, it's gonna be even better because those guys are really good friends. And they're sarcastic just like we are. So it's going to be it's going to be a really good fucking time next week. And I want to give Jeff full credit, by the way. He managed the list. He took everybody's votes. He took everybody's yays or nays, and he compiled everything. The whole thing was his brainchild. So he is responsible for all of it.
You're just trying to make me a scapegoat.
I am. This is all Jeff's fault.
John's just really mad that GTA 4 is tied with Final Fantasy 6.
This is really. I'm really upset about that. But
which one has the higher Metacritic?
GTA 4.
Just saying.
Okay, you know what? Metacritic is fucking bullshit. First of all, and you cannot judge.
You brought Metacritic. You bring Metacritic a lot in your
No. But Metacritic's not that good. No. Hold on. There are more Metacritic reviews for GTA 4 than there are for Final Fantasy 6. Go look it up. So of course it's gonna have a higher score.
Everyone knows the quality of a game is directly correlated to how many reviews there are for it.
I am just saying.
So GTA 4 is like 5 times.
I will carry water.
I think the Cluckin' Bell in GTA 4 has more detail than Kefka's Tower in Final Fantasy 6.
I'm not gonna lie, that was good. That was pretty good. Clucking Bell. All right.
I think I just need to get off.
Yeah. Steve, as you can see, look at Steve's avatar. He takes this quite
yeah, this is hurting.
But anyway, we'll go ahead and cut it off there. Like I said, we got a really cool series of episodes coming up, and more surprises to come as we get closer to episode 100, which is gonna be really cool. Thanks, Sam. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight, man. It was an awesome conversation, dude.
Oh, dude, it was a pleasure as always. It's absolutely a blast.
Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, man. Seriously. And thanks for putting up with our dumpster fire. And
I'm here to watch you burn. Let the fire rise.
Yep. Some men just want to watch the world burn, so we have started the fire. And as always, everybody, it's not always poetry, and we don't always agree, but we always keep it real. So until next week, be good to each other and go enjoy your video games.